Good afternoon. I would like to thank the organizing committee for this opportunity. It's a very interesting topic, it's a hot topic. Robotic systems are always sexy in a way, and it's something that we would expect to see them more implemented in the future and be more widely available to our everyday practice. More or less, there was a great evolution of urology the last 150 years. We started from the first cystoscope, and we managed to have robotic systems and very high quality devices in our operating rooms, providing surgery with less morbidity and higher success rates. But the reality is that robotic surgery, although is one of the latest accomplishments of urology, and urology is one of the surgical specialties that uses, that took really advantage of the robotic systems, the reality is that it's quite expensive, the robotic systems that are available, and the acceptance of the robotic systems is very, very limited. In fact, if we consider different statistical data that we know up to now, is that 50 to 60 million surgeries are taking place in general around the world. And there is 1.2 million surgeries that are being performed robotically. So more or less, there is a very large market for the robotic systems, and this is a market gap that has to be filled with robotic systems of different kinds, and these robotic systems should have a price and a cost for maintenance that could be affordable from different departments around the world. So we have a lot of different robotic systems that have been introduced to the meetings, and some of them that are already in the market. They get certification to be used as medical equipment, and in fact, there is, in the last very recent systematic review, showed that there are several robotic systems that have been used in urology in general. Specifically for radical prostatectomy is one of the procedures that represents one of the points that the robotic systems have implemented very heavily, and I think that is one of the procedures that could also show some advantage for the robotic center in comparison to other other surgical modalities. So one of the systems that is available is the C-hand system from Transenterics. This is a system that has a special infrared eye tracking system to control the camera movement, has 4 robotic arms in independent cards, which is something that could be useful in the surgery or could be not. This could represent a disadvantage of the robotic system, but very importantly has an haptic feedback. This haptic feedback is one of the features that the Da Vinci robot does not have yet, and is one of the points that the robotic surgery is being criticized. There is experience with this device, and there's also some experience for robotic radical prostatectomy using this device. It's more or less have been published 4 cases by the same group, starting with an initial evaluation of this system for radical prostatectomy, and also the presentation of their 40 first cases. Another device is the Versus from CMR Surgical. This device has 5 robotic arms and on independent cards. Has very small instruments, mini laparoscopic instruments are also available, and there is and the camera control is being done with the head movement of the robotic surgeon. It's likely that this represents a limitation, since the robotic surgeon ends up having a lot of different aspects to take care of in order to do the surgery. It can be more cumbersome regarding the functionality that it has. But there is some experience for holocystectomy. This is one of the first cases that were done. It was cholecystectomy. And from a literature search that I did very recently, what was shown is that there is an effort in implementing this robotic system for radical prostatectomy, and there is a study showing a feasibility study in cadavers that this robotic system could be used for radical prostatectomy. Another system is the Hugo Ras system from Medtronic. It's a system in a similar concept for robotic arms, independent carts, minimally laparoscopic instruments, camera control with the head of the surgeon. This is a device that is also seems to be quite promising. There is some literature of it, on it, but it's limited in only 5 clinical cases of radical prostatectomy. We would like to see how this is going to work in the future. Other devices are the Revo-I from Mir company from Korea. This device, if you take a good look at it, looks very similar to the older Da Vinci models. Of course, the reality is that the earlier Da Vinci model patents are already broken, so someone could introduce similar equipment and similar technological solutions in order to make a robot. For the moment, there is some clinical experience in radical prostatectomy. It's from the same group, and totally it includes 50 cases of robotic radical prostatectomy. Other less known devices is the Mirosurge from General Aerospace Center, DLR. This is another robot, similar features to the others, like robotic arms on independent carts, small minimally laparoscopic instruments. The difference is that this also has the haptic feedback that we don't have in the Da Vinci robots, for example, but completely lacks any clinical data on of any kind. So we'll have to see how this robot is going to run in the future. Another robotic system that got CE mark and now is being used in clinical cases. In fact, this is the robotic system that we very recently got in our department, is the Avatera robotic system. This is a quite efficient system. We currently evaluate it on feasibility studies. More or less, these are over on animals, and at the same time, the first clinical cases have been done. It seems to work quite efficiently, has 5mm instruments, is a device in the similar concept as the Da Vinci regarding the setup of the robotic arms. It has the same way of using a clutch function for controlling the camera and the different arms of the device. And at the same time, it has a 3D high-definition vision of the operative field. The last robot that I found while searching over the internet is a Japanese robot by a company called Medicaroid, and it's called Honotori. It's a device that has a similar setup as the Da Vinci robot, as far as I can tell from the information that I got. And of course, when I searched in the literature, I couldn't find anything regarding this robot or any clinical implementation of this device, and more specifically also to the radical prostatectomy. So as a conclusion of all this, it could be proposed that there is one major player for the moment in the robotic systems in the market, and that is the Da Vinci robot. There is a great market gap that would require the introduction and efficient clinical use of different robotic systems. And in fact, what we have to know also is exactly the prices of these devices, which could make, and we expect them to be a lot lower in order to be used by different departments around the world and make robotic surgery more affordable for a wider number of patients. Thank you very much.